There are so many tools to choose from when it comes to improving your bone health. Some of the popular tools, though, could actually be making osteoporosis worse. So I'm going to share my top 3 tools that I think you should avoid when it comes to reversing osteoporosis naturally. So the number one misdirected tool is clearly going to be nutrition. Everybody has an opinion about what we should eat. However, when I hear people talking about the benefits of an alkaline diet, the benefits of a vegan diet for bone health, I get a little frustrated because there is not good evidence to support them. In fact, I would argue there's almost no evidence to support them when it comes to bone health specifically. So let's talk about the alkaline diet first. So there is no human evidence to show that the pH impact of food, which is very little, especially when you eat a whole foods diet, but the pH impact of food will impact bone in humans that are consuming a normal diet, especially a calcium-rich normal diet. Yes, there are some animal studies that show that if you feed a rat or a mouse, I forget which one it was, but if you feed a rodent a calcium-poor diet and then feed them a protein-rich diet, they will actually pull calcium from their bones. And that's where a lot of this comes from. But when you look at human studies, humans that are eating adequate calcium, you do not see that same effect. In fact, if you look at populations that are eating what would arguably be a very alkaline diet, you actually see that they have lower bone mineral density and they have higher fracture risk. We see this in the vegan and vegetarian studies that have been done on large populations. Additionally, there was a study I reviewed recently, a video that's already on our channel, on a diet called the Scarsborough diet. Now, this was a really interesting article and a study because they paired fruits and vegetables that were quote unquote more alkaline, and they looked at the impact of these vegetables in the body. And in fact, they were actually effective at having the outcome of alkalizing urine and reducing urinary calcium excretion. So from that perspective, you might think, well, this is a win. However, when you look at the bone turnover markers, which they also measured, you could see that A, there wasn't much difference, and B, they actually went the wrong way. Yeah, they did slow down bone loss, but they also crushed bone building. So in this study, I would argue none of those measures were clinically relevant. It probably had no effect whatsoever clinically, but actually, if you look at the numbers, they made the bone turnover markers look worse. So there is no human study that I've ever found that demonstrates that eating a quote unquote alkalizing diet is going to have a negative or positive impact on your bones. I'm a big advocate for eating a whole foods diet. We need to eat whole foods, minimally processed, avoid the things that we know are bad for us, which includes added sugar, alcohol, GMO grains, the things that are causing inflammation. Avoiding protein, which is often avoided in an alkalizing diet, avoiding protein is going to deprive your body of the building blocks that it needs to build muscle and bone. Now, you might find websites that are going to talk about the benefits of alkalizing. They're going to sell you pH water and supplements that are going to improve your pH. They're going to sell you a lot of processed food that's going to, in theory, improve the pH of your blood. It is all garbage, nonsense. I don't see it benefiting anybody whatsoever. So let's move on. Another nutrition fail that I see in the bone health space is eating a vegan diet. Now, there are all kinds of reasons to eat a vegan diet, and I'm happy to debate the morality of eating cute animals. I'm happy to debate the environmental propaganda that comes along with, honestly, both sides of the agricultural argument. But what's more important right now, right here, is that I share with you that when patients come in on a vegan diet, what I see is that they are in a calorie deficit, they have poor gut health, they're inflamed, and they're eating more processed foods and more carbs. They're more likely to have metabolic dysfunction. Can someone eat a plant-based diet and improve muscle and bone health? Sure, but it's harder. It requires more supplementation. It oftentimes requires a lot of soy. It requires a lot of work to mix and match vegetable protein sources to get the right amino acids. And you have to have a high carb tolerance in general. We see a lot of people come in that are, especially postmenopausal women, they switch to a vegan diet and all of a sudden their A1C goes up, their fasting insulin goes up because they're eating a lot more carbohydrates. So this is a challenging way to improve muscle and bone. Is it possible? Yes, but I consider this a nutrition fail when it comes to reversing osteoporosis. All right, so the second tool that I see as a fail that people use or use incorrectly or don't use is hormone replacement therapy. Now, if you've probably heard me talk about HRT, I'm obviously a big advocate. We just launched a company to help women get HRT. I also just finished a talk for A4M that I'm going to do in September of 2024 in LA. And the evidence is so overwhelming that estrogen will have an impact on bone, both on the osteoblast and osteoclast side. Estrogen is such a powerful bone tool that having a discussion around the risks and benefits is really important if someone has osteoporosis. But the dose matters. Your hormone levels matter. The way that you time the hormones matter. Whether or not you're using progesterone matters. Whether or not you're cycling progesterone matters. There is clearly an impact on bone from both of these hormones, but we have to do it at the right dose that works for you. We have to do it in the right method that works for you. So this is why we launched a company called PEMA Bioidentical, because so many women are on HRT that's not serving them. I wrote an entire book on this topic called The Top 10 Reasons Why Your Hormones Are Failing You. Because women on a low dose of estrogen and a synthetic progestin are unlikely to see the benefit from bone. It is possible, but most women need more. There is a threshold of 60 to 80 picogram per ml in the literature, which most women are not going to get to if they are on a low dose patch, which is the standard of care right now. So there are lots of reasons to debate the risks and benefits of estrogen, but from this perspective, the research is very, very clear. Now, testosterone and androgens also can impact bone. The research is not as clear here on women specifically because it has mostly been studied around sexual health for women. So there is not a commercially available product in the US. A lot of doctors are afraid to prescribe testosterone because it is a controlled substance, so it can be hard to get. But what I will say is that testosterone in women is not a must. We see lots of postmenopausal women, if we optimize their estrogen and progesterone, they don't need testosterone. Or maybe they just need some DHEA to help their adrenal glands to make their own testosterone endogenously. So testosterone is not the key. It can be a powerful tool, but it should not be used, in my opinion, in place of estrogen and progesterone. Now, we do see for men evidence that testosterone will increase bone mineral density, but we always have to be careful when we extrapolate those data to women. There was one study that looked at testosterone in addition to estrogen and progesterone that showed that there was a benefit of all three together versus the other two, but that's about all we have from that perspective. Before I move on to my number 3 tool that I think is causing people to lose bone, let me just mention our new hormone replacement therapy masterclass. Clearly, I'm a big advocate for HRT, but there is a lot of confusion and a lot of women are not being served appropriately in the HRT space because a lot of doctors are still stuck in the dogma from 25 years ago that says that you need to use either no hormones or the lowest dose for the shortest time. None of those things are really true anymore because we have better data. So we really need to have a conversation for a patient with osteoporosis about the risks and benefits with a doctor who understands the risks and benefits. So come to our masterclass. We'll talk about some of the new options when it comes to hormone replacement therapy. We're going to talk about some of the ways that we look at populations of women that are over 10 years out from menopause, over 20 years out from menopause, women that have a family history or even personal history of breast cancer. There are potentially options for more women that are being served currently, and this is a massive need when it comes to the osteoporosis community. So look for that link in the description below on YouTube. And if you are listening to this on a podcast, go to pemabioidentical.com and look for the masterclass there. All right. So the third thing that I think might be causing bone loss for people is the wrong exercise approach. Now, I am a fan of yoga, Pilates, walking, Tai Chi. There's so many things that we could do to improve our bodies from a physical perspective. And all of those things are great. However, none of those things are going to help build bone. I see a lot of women who are, almost addicted to like group exercise classes. I see women who really enjoy water aerobics, and this is true for men too. But I also see this mindset of what's called chronic cardio, where a lot of women are still stuck in this mindset of hopping on the treadmill or the Stairmaster and going for 45 minutes. That idea should go away. There is a role for cardiovascular training, absolutely. But when it comes to building muscle and bone, those activities will hurt you. Swimming is actually worse for your bones than is not swimming, than is placebo. We need to understand that resistance training is king when it comes to building muscles, but we also have to do something to stimulate the bone to build bone, and that comes with impact. So we have to be able to do resistance training and impact if we're going to build bone, even if we have optimized HRT. You have to have the whole thing. You have to have a complete package. And I see women are afraid to do resistance training for lots of reasons, and they're all valid. But we have to understand what is the benefit, what is the actual risk, and are there other concerns that we can help you with? So we have gotten the vast majority of our patients doing resistance training, even those that are at high risk of fracture, because you have to start somewhere. We also have our patients doing impact training, whether it's something as simple as like a heel drop or a box jump or standing on a vibration plate or using an osteogenic loading device. There are a lot of ways to do it, but you need all of those things. And if you're just doing Pilates, just doing yoga, just walking, those things all have value, but they're not going to build bone. If you have questions about all this stuff, I totally get it. There is so much confusing data out there. Consider becoming a member of our HealthSpan Nation. This is our community of individuals who are looking to improve their bone health. We have a weekly Q&A, topic-driven Q&A that's a Zoom call that we do with our international audience, and HSN is a really powerful approach to getting your questions answered. And then we have our community channel where people can ask each other questions and get a lot of support and share successes. We also have a lot of past content that's available in our content vault. And then we also have discount codes on our products and services that we recommend for people that have osteoporosis looking to improve their bone health. So if you want to learn more about that, look for the link in the description below on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can go to our website, optimalhumanhealth.com, and you can learn more about HSN there. I'll see you in the next video.